What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Cavanaugh, and I'm a professional soccer player currently in Australia. I'm actually moving back to the United States soon. There is a video about that that I've already posted a few weeks ago, so go check that one out. In today's video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be breaking down year by year how I improved as a soccer player in high school, my rating of myself, very critically, of my high school soccer playing, and this is just via both club and playing in high school. So it's going to be kind of a comprehensive review, what I did to improve, the challenges that I faced, and in between each of these sections, I will be putting a gym workout that I did yesterday for legs. So that'll be awesome. Let's hop right into the video. All right, so if you guys didn't know and aren't from the United States, we have high school from 14 or 15 years old to 17, 18 years old. So it's years 9 through 12, I guess. So 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'll be talking about year 9 in this little section. So year 9 is what we call freshman year. Now, freshman year, you go into trials in high school soccer in the spring, the beginning of the springtime in January, February, and then you make the team, and then you play with whatever team, varsity, junior varsity, or the JVC, which is sort of the freshman team. I made the varsity team, absolutely kicked ass in the trials, did really, really well in the tryouts, and then got to a place where I realized this is the type of soccer and this is the type of traditional coaching where they really appreciate seniority. And so the seniors and the juniors played before the sophomores and freshmen. And it wasn't really about who was the best, it was just about respect for the players that had been there the longest. However, I didn't take it that way back then. I was an okay player, but I knew at that time that I really wanted to make it to the professional game. So what I did was every time that I didn't play, which was actually quite often, I only started about one game that entire season in my high school. In my club, I was a starting player and it was all great and dandy, but especially in my high school, I got really angry and really got frustrated and said, I'm gonna take this upon myself to get better. And so we lived about 6 miles away from the field, and so I would run home after every game, even if I only played 10 or 15 minutes. And so what it did was it built up my fitness and it built up my mental grit so that I knew as soon as I made it to the higher levels, that sort of work ethic would absolutely keep me in the game for longer periods of time. So that's what I did. I made sure I grinded off the field. I was getting kind of torched socially because it was a totally new environment. And as a 14, 15-year-old, you're literally playing with men at 18 years old, 18, 19 years old who are seniors. And so I didn't have the maturity at that point yet to get after it on the training field or the game field. But what I did was I focused on myself, played really well with my club team in my own age group, and then did everything that I possibly could on the pitch on my freshman year to make sure that I was really setting myself up for success the next year. So I would give myself a 6 out of 10 of my freshman year across the age group, and that is my freshman year.
All right, fam, so for this particular exercise, we're doing just a barbell squat, really basic stuff. Make sure you get a good warm up in, whether you're doing a bike or a swim or you're doing a soccer workout beforehand. And then also make sure that you warm up on the barbell squat as well. So you're not just hopping into your reps and your sets, you're building up to that pace. So what I'm gonna do is I'm building up about 10 kilos each time, and then I hop into the entire set 5x5. I am doing about 110 kilos. The first one that you'll see right here is 100 kilos, but 110 was sort of my set weight. So that's what I'd recommend doing. Make sure you get it all sorted before getting into that main set. Supersetted with the barbell squat is the 90-90. So if you can get your torso off the ground, I am working on my flexibility. It's something that I struggle with actually a lot through my hips. So what I'm doing is I've got my hands behind me on the ground, but if you can lift both hands in front of your body, that's the most ideal way to do this exercise. As you can see from this other angle, all I'm doing is I'm trying to touch both knees to the ground while keeping my torso as stable as possible.
All right, so on to sophomore year, which is our second year in high school. And in the second year, the coach came up to me and he said, look, I know you put in the work freshman year. You're gonna be a key player for us. I had done a huge leap in skill level and game intelligence between freshman and sophomore years. And he was really looking forward to having me on the team that second year. I had the same coach all 4 years, so I'll refer to him just as the high school coach for purposes of anonymity. And anyway, so what would happen was he came up to me and he said, you're basically going to be our key guy along with Moombi, who I've interviewed on this channel before. Go check out that review. It's fantastic. Moombi is one of my greatest friends, wonderful, wonderful human, and a really good player. And he and I played center midfield together. So we would play centrally, and he and I were kind of those key players in the midfield that made it happen. He was a year ahead of me, so he was a junior. But sophomore year, my focus was play all the games, make a difference on the field. Back in high school, especially at that tactical level, because you have such a wide gap in playing experience, usually they would like man mark the best players, and Moombi and I were always man marked, which is sort of an indication of, hey, we think this player is going to be really dangerous, got to be aware of these guys. And so that was kind of the key thing sophomore year. Scored a couple goals. I think I had 4 goals and 4 assists. So played really well, started to get into the rhythm of high school soccer. I had been in the league before. I knew what to expect. I knew what teams were going to be really good and what teams we could really punish. And it just went great from there. I also joined a different club team, which was at a totally higher tier than the one that I was at before. We were playing in the same league, but I was in like a mid-table team, mid to low table team for the years prior to that, and I moved to a team called Crossfire Premier, which was the best team in the state by quite a bit. And we had a fantastic club, so I moved to them about 8 months before my sophomore year high school season started, and it was just a fantastic way for me to level up my game, and I ended up scoring goals like this. As you can see, those are absolute, quote unquote bangers. I was really excited to score goals like that, scored twice that game actually, and just absolutely crushed it sophomore year. So I would give myself probably a rating of 7 out of 10.
All right, next exercise is the barbell SL RDLs, so single leg Romanian deadlift. Make sure you're kicking your leg back as straight as you can. Depending on your flexibility and your strength level, obviously go down as long and close to the ground as you can, and then make sure you are warming up. So again, doing the bar first or doing 5 kilos, 10 kilos, whatever your warm-up weight is really, really important. And supersetted with these, the B2 exercise is the dumbbell RFESS, or basically like a lunge on some sort of raised thing for your back foot. You can use a box, you can use a bench like I am here, whatever works best for you. Again, making sure that you're getting your knee all the way down to the ground if you possibly can, keeping that torso really locked in, your core engaged, and get after it.
All right, so junior year is when things got really, really good. Started scoring a lot more goals. I think I had 6 or 7 that year. Moombi and I were now the captains, the senior juniors captains. My younger brother was in the year below me, and the 3 of us just absolutely ran that team. It was fantastic. We made playoffs. It was like a whole thing. Junior year is when I started training with the academy team at Crossfire as well. So I was playing with the sort of what would now be, I guess, like an ECNL, and then we had like a DA team, and the development academy team is the one that traveled all over the country. Our state winning team that I played for, normally we had a phenomenal team. 18 out of 18 of those guys went to college for soccer, which was absolutely unheard of in our league. So anyway, so playing at the top of like the club level basically, and then moved into the DA to train with them, and just had an absolute blast that year playing for the high school. It also gave me a really good opportunity to come together with Moombi, and especially come into my own on the leadership side of things. So I was always, again, from freshman year, making sure that that mindset was work, work, work. You're gonna outwork everybody on the field, but also off the field with your technical and tactical stuff. I was watching tons of soccer. I was spending my lunch times down in the sort of the dungeon of our school, which was just the downstairs. It was all concrete. And I would bang the ball against the wall for 25 minutes during lunch, or I would juggle the ball. And it was really that time where I was building momentum towards the college game, and then long-term towards the professional game. So that's kind of how junior season went. Just a fantastic year overall. I felt really good. I was doing really well academically, and obviously the soccer was fantastic. Really leveled up again. I would give myself a rating of 7.5 out of 10.
And the final set of exercises is just some groin stability or groin PT. What I'm doing, as you can see in this clip, is I've got my foot parallel to the ground, and then I'm pointing my toe upwards for the next 10 reps, and then switching sides. And I'm doing 3 sets of each of those exercises, so it's about 60 total each side, or total, I mean, so both sides. And making sure you're getting that leg as high as you can, keep that knee locked, and your body as straight as possible throughout the entire exercise is really important to get the location of that groin PT that you want.
finally, senior year. Now, senior year was a huge deal because I had committed to Whitman College to play Division III soccer my December of my senior year. So I had just finished my final year of like club soccer. We played year round, but they had a break for about 4 months during the high school season. And I had just committed. I was on a roll. We were playing super well in state. We were doing all the right things. Got into senior year of high school soccer. I was the captain of the team. My younger brother was kind of vice captain. He was helping out. And it was just a wonderful experience playing my final year. The photo that you see on the thumbnail is actually a photo from senior year against a team called Eastside Catholic, who were one of our like rival teams. Basically, I was wearing the absolute sickest boots I think I've ever had. I wore a custom pair of Nike ID Hypervenom 1s in all white. Unfortunately, I wore these crazy little ankle socks over my game socks. It was like I think the Hypervenom 1 stretched too much. Anyway, beside the point, those were amazing shoes, awesome, I loved them. But the way that season went was almost flawless. I was flying on all cylinders, playing super well. That was the season that set me up really, really well for playing lots of games in college soccer. And that was the season that I think is probably my best season in high school, bar none. I scored about 9 goals, I think, that season, and just had some really, really good games where I just felt solid. I felt like I was leading the team really well, and it really set me up. It was sort of this culmination of all of the work that I'd put in over the course of starting in freshman year when I wasn't playing any games to starting playing overtime, PKs, everything, doing everything for the high school team my senior year. And that was what set me up for success going into college and motivated me towards the pro game. So that is the high school career in a nutshell. I know that was kind of quick, but basically it was pretty much a linear to exponential growth over the course of those 4 years. And I really challenge you as players who are either of that age or are older in college or in the pro level, if you're the same player that you were a month ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago, you haven't gotten anywhere, and you got to be honest with yourself. And I think for me, that progression from freshman year not playing, I think all but one game, I think I played one game or started one game and played like 5 games that season, running home, getting all angry, lifting on my own, starting a lifting routine, doing technical sessions, all the way to senior year where all of that stuff still was there. I was already miles ahead of the other players, and I think that's where you really separate yourself, is that extra bit of grit, that extra bit of smart training that you can do position specific, etc., to get you sorted for whatever the next level is. Obviously for me then, it was the college level. For a college player, it might be the pro level or the semi-pro level, but whatever you got to do, you got to make sure that you're progressing every single year or every single day, just to make sure that you get to the goals that you're setting for yourselves. All right, guys, that is it for the video. Thanks so much for joining me. I will throw the workout that you just saw down in the description box below. It'll have the whole thing lined out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video if you got value from it. Comment down below what your best year of soccer has been so far and why. And then I will see you guys in the next video. As always, be awesome, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.